Welcome to MYRND Movies Director's Cut, the second episode of this podcast. I'm the creator of MYRND Movies and yes, we do believe in stories for all. आज एपिसोड 2 है और हमारे साथ है हमारी सेकेंड रिलीज शॉर्ट फिल्म के राइटर डायरेक्टर, एक मल्टी टैलेंटेड इंसान जिन्हें मैं अपना बड़ा भाई मानता हूँ. ही इज़ वन ऑफ द वार्मेस्ट पीपल यूल मीट एंड वन ऑफ द स्मार्टेस्ट माइंड्स यूल मीट इन द इंडस्ट्री. Please welcome my dearest friend, Swapnil Raje. Welcome my dearest friend, my brother.
Thanks.
Swapnil, MYRND Movies Director's Cut. ये हमारा सीरीज है. अनिकेत ने पहला एपिसोड किया था और the second one, Tithlee has released. I believe life must have changed in a good way. Yeah. But my first question to you is, where and who is Swapnil Raje? Where do you come from? What is your background? Because the world wants to know behind the camera. What exactly is your life like? Where do you come from? Take introduction agar mile.
Actually, my background is not that interesting. It's just a normal life that every middle class person that grows up in Maharashtra, Mumbai. So I'm a Maharashtrian middle class guy. And of course, we were exposed to arts, cinema, music in particular. So the lot of music is what I am inculcated in my life. So
Music?
Music
Okay.
is something that I grew up on. और उसके साथ में film was incidental because music is what I used to like. So film music was something that came by. Now, through that I started getting into movies and especially started with something like V. Shantaram films, because the music was great. So then, of course, the visuals used to be brilliant.
तो आपके घर का माहौल, coming to my second question, I'll put it here only in the first, punch it in. फिल्मी माहौल था घर पे?
फिल्मी माहौल मतलब arts से related था. So it can be something like plays also. It can be movies also.
Plays at that point?
Yeah, plays in the sense going to theatre, music listening was also a big thing. Movies to like see, television was part of your life that time when I was born in 70s. So television was there. तो television पे movies तो आया करती थी. तो of course
television था तब prominently.
Yeah. Of course. And we so Star Trek and those kind of film, those kind of serials. So that led me to cinema slowly. Some movies, because during that time Doordarshan used to show some select very good films.
And was it like a Sunday thing or?
Yeah, it was a Sunday thing. So mostly on Sundays, if I remember, because I was very young, but I remember things like even watching a film like Damul, you must have heard
of it.
Yeah, Prakash Jha ki film hai. It's basically shot completely in shadows.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So I was thoroughly fascinated by that film. It's a very weird film. If you look at it from that point of view, I don't know why I watched it, but I ended up, loving it. And during that time, it was also, the parallel cinema movement was happening. And because of that, I also ended up seeing a lot of good cinema. Like something like Arth or Govin Nilani's Arth Satya or Party. And of course exposed to a lot of
Party, the English film?
Party is a Hindi film, Govin Nilani.
अच्छा, गोविंद नहलानी की. Okay.
It's an all-star cast film,
Okay.
There's Deepa Sai, Naseeruddin Shah.
मतलब काफी बड़ी पिक्चर थी.
हाँ, बड़ी मतलब बहुत अलग फिल्म थी. It was basically to do with high society people, and Party basically talks about it in that way. And थोड़ा सा उसमें drama. It's a very interesting film.
Okay.
So those kind of films also fascinated me. And it also gave me a lot of insight into how diverse cinema can be, because I was watching those films also, and I was also watching Vidhata, Subhash Ghai ki. Those films were very different, right? But
so you were watching commercial and art films?
Yeah. See, our art films, unfortunately, we did not get to see it in theaters because I don't think it was released in a lot of theaters. So only the art cinema that I remember seeing in theater probably was Saransh.
Mahesh Bhatt's film.
Yeah. A great film,
Yes.
So, but most of it was commercial films, and of course some Hollywood films that like very smart, funny films like that Herbie and Flash Gordon and all those kind.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So those films basically started, making me interested in cinema, and yeah, so eventually when I grew up and I started watching films like, say, Parinda, Mr. India, those films.
Iconic.
So, of course, the working people, so both of them are working. So, yeah, they were always out of the house. तो मुझे काफी फिल्में देखने का मौका मिलता था.
वो खुद लेके जाते थे आपको?
More or less. But me and my brother used to go because he was more fascinated into going into films.
And your brother does what?
He also is an engineer. He stays abroad.
Okay. Yeah. So you were a family of 4.
Yeah.
And the way
family of my grandparents also used to stay with us.
Okay.
And, yeah. So it was a big family if you look at it that way. So yeah, we used to go out not very often. See, cinema देखना मतलब ऐसे नहीं कि हर हफ्ते जाना वगैरह. इवेंट होता था. सिनेमा देखने जाना मतलब इवेंट होता था. सामने हमारे घर के सामने एक सिनेमा था, वहाँ पे मराठी सिनेमा अच्छी फिल्म्स होती थी, वो देखी जाती थी. That era I have seen it.
Now when you look at your life, आपकी बातों से लग रहा है कि आप एक रेबेल जैसे हैं. क्योंकि आप एक डायरेक्टर बन गए हैं. You have directed Tithlee, you have written so many scripts for me. So tell me, after loving movies, when did cinema find you? When did you think यार मैं ना यार writer बनूंगा? Any definite moment?
Actually, see, my first cousin is a filmmaker.
Okay.
That time he was also assisting and he was making some serials and stuff like that. And we used to discuss, the ideas and once he was talking about some idea, and I was just giving him something, just giving inputs from
my side. And this is what era in life?
This was 90s, I believe.
So 90s. You are like fresh out of college or in college?
I was in college.
You were in college.
I was in like probably 12th or something like that, 12th or first year. And he said, why don't you write this, just try and write it. So I wrote the screenplay dialogue for like 4 or 5 episodes. I don't know how I did it. I wrote it and it was like a comedy or something like that. And see, that time I didn't know what responsibilities of a writer or script writer. I just went by my instinct and I wrote it.
Okay.
And it got made, So
what was it?
So it was for us, like a local channel. Like there used to be a local channel called In Mumbai or something like that.
In Mumbai?
Yeah.
Achha.
So uske koi to show tha kuch to, and I just wrote for it. And of course, my brother Viraj, he was also a theatre person, and he also was acquainted with a lot of very good actors, like Ninad Kamath.
Really?
Yeah. So he was in that. So he and another Marathi actor, Pushkar, they were part of that. They're very good actors. So, and I also assisted that time. I was also an assistant director. I was very bad. In fact,
so you were an assistant on it?
Yeah. I assisted also because I thought, chalo, let's be on the set and see it. And I was allowed to be on the set, and I was asked to look into the continuity, and वो shoot हो रहा था, और वो frame पे ना burn होता है ना, तो वो burn होना is actually a bad thing. I actually liked it, so I didn't protest. I didn't tell them kids burning, and the producer came in and saw it, and he saw that it's burning, and he got livid. Like ये तो burn हो रहा है, तेरे को बताने को क्या होता है? I thought I liked it. So, of course, I was a bad assistant director.
You loved movies.
Yeah.
But when did you know कि यार film का script लिखना है? आपने और भी odd jobs किए हैं, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. So, I wanted to get into writing and direction, but वो इतना आसान नहीं था. See, for someone who comes from a background which is completely unaware
Despite
of
you writing a show at an early age, easy नहीं था.
नहीं, easy नहीं था से ज़्यादा. See, the kind of struggle that you need to make, you need to have a different what do you call that, different will. And मुझे पता था that time writers were not treated well, to be honest. So they were not paid well. They were not treated well. So I was like, why will I do this when I know that I can get a job, I can, थोड़ा इतना struggle करने की ज़रूरत है क्या?
The writers being not paid, that stopped you.
Yeah, see, that was the eventual thing. See, even if I decided, I told my family, my family wouldn't have been कि चुपचाप घर पे बैठो और नौकरी करो. They would have said, okay, do what you want. But the thing is, when I saw how it is going to be, when I went trying to look for work, the first thing I remember, I went to a particular, I don't want to name the production, but I met a big person there, and he was very warm to receive to me, and he asked, अच्छा अच्छा, तो आप actor बनने आए हैं? I said, मुझे acting नहीं, मुझे direction करना है. He just completely froze. You know, direction वगैरह में it's not easy to get. So then actor मतलब क्या है, आप फोटो दे के जाओ, आपको फिर बाद में 10 महीना आपको आओ जाओ करते रहेंगे. बट डायरेक्टर का जॉब कैसे, मतलब कैसे बात करें. सो ही जस्ट काइंड ऑफ completely blew me off. And then of course I met a cinematographer. You must have heard of Rajan Kothare.
Yes.
He was also nice to me, but the thing is, it was not easy to get work, even like getting work of an assistant. वो किसी की थोड़ी सी पहचान ज्यादा होगी तो you know आपको मिल जाता
है. तो जब उसने कहा आपको एक्टर बनना है, आपको अच्छा लगा ये सुन के कि मैं हीरो लगता हूँ?
नहीं, not really.
आप निराश हो गए कि इसने मुझे हीरो क्यों बोल दिया?
I was like, what kind of a question is that? Like, you know, I wasn't offended or I wasn't even thrilled by it. I was just like, probably someone conveyed some wrong information.
How उसके बाद क्या? What after those 15 years?
See, the thing is, in between, I also, what happened is another.
Weren't you a critic?
Yeah. Yeah. So I used to write movies also and music also. And but in between, when I was working there as an editor, another friend was working for a director. He asked me, you know, why don't you send a you know, story or something, like send me a one-liner.
Acha.
And I sent a one-liner, and within 15 minutes the director called me, a very big director, and I met him. I was really in awe of that director, like a brilliant guy. And he said, okay, you can, you know, so I really liked your idea. And I sent him the synopsis also. He really loved that idea. It was a very different idea and everything. And I was shocked that he's praising that and knowing the caliber of that director. And then he asked me to develop something. So develop करने के लिए उन्होंने एक किताब दी, और एक किताब दी नहीं, कहीं वो मुझे खरीदनी पड़ी. VHS
ये दिया, एक VHS दिया देखने के लिए?
नहीं, वो भी मुझे लेने पड़े थे. सो उसका ये करके मुझे उसका मैशअप करके एक स्क्रिप्ट बनानी थी,
जो बहुत ही टिपिकल बॉलीवुड स्टाइल है आपका.
हाँ. सो honestly I was a little disappointed because I was like, you liked my story, why aren't you taking it up?
तो क्या उसका रीजनिंग क्या था?
See, I was too much in awe of that person to ask these kind of questions. I said, okay, I'll just do it.
Achha.
But the thing is, I was still working. My job was still there, and during the process, he signed me on and signed up with a contract. But the contract itself showed that the money was so bad that I would have made that money in my job in 2 months. And that person expected me to leave my job and be at this 24/7. It just doesn't make economic sense for me.
Despite 15 years having worked and made a decent amount of life, you still did not find it exciting. Very surprising thing, before we get into the next chapter, you're saying writers were not given respect, but we are the same industry that worshipped Salim Javed.
Yeah.
So there was respect also in that era.
Oh, of course.
But maybe to the superstars of writing.
Yeah. See, Salim Javed is the phenomenon that, you know, we can't really, even compare.
They defined the 70s.
Yeah. See, it was different. Salim Javed, I don't know if we can really even call them a benchmark, because they were just beyond. The success that they had was like unparalleled.
Yes.
You know, usi vein mein there were other writers who were really good, you know, but probably they didn't get the kind of mileage that Salim Javed got. Like even something like Sachin Bhaumik has written such wonderful stories for Sumash Ghai. You know, तो उनको कोई नहीं जानता उनके बारे में, because many people probably were not very media savvy.
But Salim Javed were very, I think, adamant that they are recognized.
Yeah.
You know,
no, but kudos to them that they, because of them, at least वो ज़माने में writer का जो ये था. But unfortunately, after them, there were no one who were that great. Probably that consistent. Let's say there must be great writers, but they were probably not consistent. See, what happened, I don't know what changed after Salim Javed's split. I don't know why the writers were treated differently. And see, what happens is a lot of very big writers who probably wrote novels and, something like Mahashweta Devi and even lot of authors, probably they knew that the ट्रीटमेंट ठीक नहीं है, स्क्रीन प्ले कैसे लिखते हैं, अभी बैठे एक्टर्स बैठे हैं और अभी स्क्रीन लिख के डायलॉग लिख के आप डायलॉग बोल दीजिए. That I don't know when that thing changed, because from what we have heard is Salim Javed used to have bound scripts.
Yes.
So I don't know when that changed, and that change has probably affected the industry very badly.
Now coming to us. स्वप्निल, मेरा आपके साथ पहला इंटरेक्शन मुझे बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंगली याद है. मैं नहीं भूलता जिन लोगों से मैं मिलता हूँ जो मेरे लिए अजीज़ हैं. आप समूखा एंटरटेनमेंट के लिए राइटर थे, जिन्होंने बहारा चमन प्रकाश प्रोड्यूस की थी हमारे लिए. बहुत ही बढ़िया लोग. तो मैं ऑफिस गया था अंधेरी ईस्ट, जहाँ पर स्वप्निल और एक और राइटर थे, और इन्होंने बैठे बैठे उन्हें 15 मिनट में 3 कॉन्सेप्ट सुनाए थे और मुझे तीनों अच्छे लगे थे. और उन्होंने मुझे जब वो कहानियाँ वो बता रहे थे उनको, मैं तो स्पेक्टेटर था, वो बोल रहे थे ये कहानी ना योर्स माइंड्स एंड आस से मिलती है, ये कहानी इससे मिलती है. मैंने बोला यार ये आदमी तो वेल रेड आदमी है, क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ स्क्रीन प्ले राइटर्स जो होते हैं वो यूजुअली कोट उन्हीं फिल्मों को करते हैं जो उन्हें लगता है उस रूम में बहुत कूल मानी जाएगी. जैसे अगर एक तुम्बाड़ फिल्म आई है तो दे विल ट्राई टू जस्ट टॉक अबाउट तुम्बाड़, जबकि उनका दिल आ गया है दबंग पे. बट ही वॉज वेरी रियल, ही न्यू हिज रेफरेंसेज, एंड आई सेड to Shrikant again, who was a big part of MYRND movies, and Rahul Kanodia, who is the head of Samukha Entertainment, I want to meet this person. And the very first time I met you was at Indigo Cafe in Andheri West, and we were developing, in my opinion, the bravest script that you and me have sat on, which unfortunately didn't see the light of day. And today there is so many stories like that. I sometimes wonder maybe we were slow in our process, but then COVID happened.
Yeah.
But you tell me, when I came to you for Tithlee, the concept of racism in Indian society, which is so prevalent even today. People dear to me, my father has spoken about having faced that for a long time in his career, in his life. What made you think, I know you admire me as a friend, you've known me for years, what made you think Tithlee needs to be made?
Actually, I was surprised when you told me the story, because even I have believed in this idea of racism which exists in our country. And I always get frustrated by that particular
aspect.
That entire mindset that we have, which is really, really bad. And this is actually because of there are historical reasons why we have that. So that will be a very long if we discuss it. But that basically was something that was always on my mind. This is a very frustrating thing for me. But I never thought that we could make it into a film in that way. The way you gave me that concept, I was so thrilled. I said, really, that's a brilliant idea. I would love to take it up. And I took it up as a challenge. Because, the one line that you gave me was nice, but usko pura story mein banana, screenplay mein banana is going to be a challenge. So I thought I'll take it up as a challenge. And it was really fun to make it. And I loved the idea that I was able to, through the characters, say those things that I really wanted to say. Not in a preachy way. That's what we always discussed, is not to make it as a preachy film. Make it, like a natural conversation that we can open up to. So I was glad that we succeeded in kind of, coming up with that that story, that idea. So your inputs also were very helpful and very important that time, because sometimes I thought probably I might have been a little more forceful in my point coming out. But I think it came out well.
But what drew you to the film? Have you had experience? I mean, we all have had racists.
We all have had experiences.
We have racists around us. But what made you think, yaar, ye banna chahiye 2024 mein?
See, because it's getting even worse, to be honest now. Because of our social media, because of the way the exterior of you is so important. So उसमें ये racism तो बहुत ज़्यादा apparent हो रहा है. It's something that I have seen. Some of the comments that I put up, I see on social media, just because a very white girl has married a dark guy. There is jokes. There are jokes on him. Kala Kaluta and
Yeah, Kaale hai to
what's
kya hua,
wrong with
Dilwale
him
hai.
being
I don't
dark?
think today
No, I
will be
just don't-
appreciated.
but still, there people just make fun of it. Why is it something to be made fun of?
But I think what we have touched on now with Tithlee is that we took it to another level where the racism reaches your home
yeah,
and you don't accept a person or you grudge against a person. ऐसे racist comments तो fat people, thin people पे भी होते
नहीं
हैं.
वो तो है ही ना. सी देखिए, शादी होती है तो आप डिस्क्रिप्शन पढ़िए ना लोगों की.
बिल्कुल.
गोरी
बिल्कुल,
लड़की
बिल्कुल.
होनी चाहिए,
बिल्कुल.
ये है सांवला रंग नहीं, वीटिश कलर, वीटिश complexion. No, so those things are really still prevalent.
Yes.
And now people see what has happened is there is some awareness, so people are probably not open about it. Exactly the way the mother is in Tithlee.
Yeah.
Like she's not open about it, but at least she's saying something in a very subtle way, saying कि आपको गोरी दिखनी चाहिए. आप, start looking a little presentable. आप गोरे दिखोगे तो presentable.
Because there is a very bad, rather sickening idea that when you even audition, I'm an actor, I've auditioned thousands of times. And when I was called for an audition, I was called an upmarket actor. They would message me upmarket, 6 feet tall, fair, and anything else. And I'm not kidding. There was one person who gave a reference of this actor named Denzel Washington. And they're like, we need someone like him. And they did not put upmarket in front ahead of his picture. So this is happening in Mumbai. And this is happening in our industry. So I was considered upmarket, and a black person's reference was Denzel Washington.
Oh God.
So, that's when it triggered me that Tithlee needs to be made.
Yeah.
Now coming to you becoming a director, this script was by you. Every single dialogue in Tithlee is written by you. You're the screenplay writer, dialogue writer, and literally the head of the script. When I came to you and I said, I want you to direct, I knew you were a bit apprehensive, but within 3 hours you told me karte hain. And then a year later, you have directed. How did you feel when that opportunity came to you? And I'm not asking you to praise me now. I want to know your experience. Please, this is not a self-congratulatory podcast. क्या था आपका?
Well, I'll write the praise a little in text में लिख के दूंगा आपको.
Okay, thank you.
But see, the thing is, I was a little nervous because I didn't want to disappoint people who say that you can direct it.
Huh.
I always believe that I can do it.
You do it.
I honestly believe that I can direct because थोड़ा experience है मुझे उसका. So I would not say कि I was really scared. I was nervous that I could.
जो बड़ा natural होता है.
हाँ. So taking up that, but the fact is that you had shown faith in me. So I said, I'm sure if he's also showing faith in you, that you could at least take the leap of faith and take
Yes.
it up. And of course, I also had I had a great team that I was working with.
Of course.
So director is nothing if you don't have a good team. So if you have good actors, good technicians, like even the chief AD was brilliant, the associate director, Yogesh, was brilliant. And that really helped make it the way it is. So initially when you're talking about that, hesitance was there. But as I said, in 3 hours, decided, chalo, कर देते. हाँ तो बोल देते.
Correct.
आगे देखा जाएगा.
Because I have always had a belief that a person who can write so well, I genuinely think you're a genius, he cannot fail not to understand human emotion, and movies are all about human emotion. Even if you're making a film about a fucking robot, it has to have emotion. Like AI, Steven Spielberg ने Alien पे picture बनाई, robot पे, not Alien, robot पे, but उसमें emotion है.
True.
Human beings work on that, and I knew it from the very first day that you'll pull it off. But let's get to that after this. Casting for Tithlee, Padma Damodaran, Vaibhav Joshi, Arpita Srivastav, Manish Singh, fabulous actors.
Oh.
How was the experience? And your DOP was Cheryl.
Oh,
कैसा था
brilliant
experience?
guy.
माहौल क्या था? How were you directing them? How was the shoot?
Oh, the shoot was a breeze. I was a little nervous because
One day.
We
achieved Tithlee in one day. 15-minute film.
That time I was a little scared because we had the most difficult part was getting that golden hour light, shooting that. And the most difficult scene was in that golden hour light, because obviously there was a reason why we were shot in golden hour. So the thing is कि ऐसी story अगर ऐसा ये रहेगा challenge रहेगा तो you have to have the good actors, like brilliant actors, or else your film is going to fall flat. You know, तो कुछ नहीं हो सकता और वो retake पे retake होते रहे और actor समझ नहीं पा रहा है तुम क्या बोल रहे हो. So the thing is that was a blessing, like Arpita, Vaibhav, Padma ji, Manish also.
Yes.
And वो जो था ना, so as I said कि you know the universe was kind of helping me, you know, finding great actors. Of course universe में आप भी है, योगेश भी है and श्रीकांत भी है.
जी.
So Shrikant is the one who directed me towards Arpita. She was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
जब उसने audition का ये भेजा था, clip भेजा था, she was like immediately I said she is brilliant. Like of course after we met and discussed and the thing was like a final thing immediately. Vaibhav also was a big surprise.
Yeah.
And Padma ji was a big discovery. We were a little nervous. We were hopeful that she'll say yes or no, पता नहीं. But kind of, I don't know. Shrikant को थोड़ा credit देते हैं. थोड़ा क्या बहुत पूरा credit उसको.
Yeah, because I think everybody is so well cast.
Yeah.
And before we streamed it, I remember I was watching it here. And me and Shrikant saw the first cut. And Shrikant was always a bit nervous showing me the film is ready because I'm the producer. So वो एक nervousness होती है. और हम देख रहे थे और हमको वो पिक्चर में सब कुछ अच्छा लगा सिवाय कुछ changes के हमें चाहिए थे. And then I'm like, you know, I'll just show it to my parents because they have no idea about Tithlee. I don't share scripts with them. They saw and they were just fantastic.
Oh, wow.
And I remember calling you and telling you, and that's when I said, हाँ हो गया है. Now भाई उसके बाद फिल्म बनती है और फिल्म अब YouTube पे आ चुकी है. Tithlee is now streaming on Pocket Films YouTube चैनल. वो फिल्म रिलीज हुई मई में, अब से 1.5 महीने पहले. कैसा रिस्पॉन्स मिल रहा है? हाउ आर यू फीलिंग एज ए डायरेक्टर? व्हाट वाज योर मॉम्स रिएक्शन टू योर डेब्यू एज ए डायरेक्टर? क्या था माहौल?
Honestly, the reaction, the feeling was relief. There's no other thing.
हल्का लग रहा है.
मतलब it's got made. No one's disappointed. It's not a bad film.
Not at all.
That was, see, these are my basic concerns when I was making it. कि it should not be bad. Like मतलब कोई ऐसे ना बोले ये क्या कर दिया. And like the thing is, you know when your film is bad when people start beating around the bush. हाँ बैकग्राउंड अच्छा था. वो एक्टर ने कपड़े अच्छे पहने थे. So वैसे नहीं
finding ways
to praise you. Friends will be nice and family also will be nice. But the fact is that they pointed out that it's a good theme. They liked the actors. They liked the cinematography. Oh my God, Cheryl
is a genius.
Yeah. And people loved the background music.
Which was by
Karan.
Karan. Yeah, he's done a fabulous job.
Oh yeah. He's done so much great work. So we were lucky to have him.
Yeah, and he killed it.
Yeah. So these things, eventually I got to know that the film, people are liking it, and I think it's an evergreen film in the concept. Ye story aisa nahi hai.
Unfortunately, right?
Yeah, unfortunately. But it's a story that it's a theme that still is going to be relevant for us for a very long time. आज कल कभी भी देखोगे तो ये अभी भी ये ऐसे हो रहा है. So in that way I'm glad that we made a film which was not just topical in that way कि आज मतलब based on the news that is happening right now. It's something that is a theme that is going to last for a while till we start changing our thought process. And I hope in some way people might resonate with that and probably think twice before thinking the way they do right now.
Yes. And were you expecting thousands of views? And we got a message from Pocket Films and the person Rishi, he said this is one of the fastest growing short films on our YouTube channel.
Oh wow.
So did you expect इतने हजारों लोग आपकी पिक्चर देखेंगे और इतना उससे emotionally connect करेंगे? Again, what did your mother think? What was the review?
Oh, my mom also liked it. She really liked the idea. She really liked Vaibhav in particular. She said इसने अच्छा acting किया है, and she liked Arpita and Padma.
मजा आया मतलब.
Yeah. She really liked it. She said, it's the same thing. She said it's a very relevant story. It's a very relevant subject.
But were you surprised with the thousands of views that came in for a non-star cast?
I'm still finding it a little unreal beyond the point, So the fact is that, the film got made and मतलब 25 लोगों ने भी देखा ना तो मैं बहुत खुश हो गया. तो जब
But
मैंने
आपको
view
तो
देखा,
हजारों ने देख लिया.
तो then I've stopped kind of counting. It's basically now, you know, like
It's gone
off the
above.
charts, and like I'm not thinking about it right now.
Before we conclude, this is my last question. You're a filmy person, you write stories. If you had to summarize your life in a film title or a film quote or just a quote in general, what would it be?
अरे बाप रे. I really don't.
As maybe a saying or maybe a belief or sort of an ideology of a film that you feel stands true for you, because I think movies are nothing but an expression of the experiences of life, you know.
Well, I simply am of this philosophy, I can say, is
हाँ.
live and let live. I'm
हाँ.
just of that opinion. मुझे किसी की फिल्म अच्छी चल रही है तो मुझे जलन नहीं होती है, किसी की फिल्म पिट रही है तो मुझे खुशी नहीं होती है.
You're neutral.
So yeah, so like, you know, to each his own, live and let live. These are the things that I.
And I think live and let live is also in a way Tithlee's message
Yeah.
that you should accept yourself
Yeah.
the way you are, and you should live and let live and respect everyone at the same time.
Oh wow, that's very
One way
well
to look
put.
at it.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for putting it for me.
So it's live and let live.
Yeah. Live and let live.
Fabulous.
I believe so.
So thank you so much for joining us on our second podcast. This was Swapnil Raje, the writer and director of Tithlee. ये बहुत ही मल्टी टैलेंटेड राइटर है. हमने कितनी स्क्रिप्ट्स लिखी है मुझे याद भी नहीं है. This is just the beginning. But thank you everyone for watching. And yes, we'll see you next time on our episode 3. Thank you so much, Swapnil.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you, bro.